maybe what fans may think at home. You know, you've got Matthias, who's the established player, and then you've got Lou, who's the newcomer. But you can't ever take anyone for, granted. And, Lou's going to come out all out pummeling in this game. So it's going to be really good to see the outcome of this. And I'll let you kind of cover the teams.
Yeah. Well, I should start with Pheromosa, as you already mentioned, the all-out pummeling. We got Pheromosa, Marowak, Porygon C, Celesteela, Gigalith, and Smeagol on Lou's side. And on Matthias' side, we got a more standardish team with Tapu Koko, Porygon 2, Katana, Arcanine, a Garchomp, and a Tapu Lele. Garchomp is something we haven't seen that often.
Which is really surprising because it's still ranked as one of the highest used Pokemon on the Battle Spot ladder.
Yeah.
So it's surprising that we haven't seen as much of it so far in the tournament. So it's nice to see it included in Matthias' team. And it probably will come in quite handy because it is able to take those big rock-type attacks that come out from the Gigalith and threaten back with those earthquakes and things like that. I think the one thing Matthias needs to try and do is shut down that Smeagol. It's obviously got Fake Out support and it's got the Spore, but he does have the tools to do that. Like we see, he's going to lead out with that Tapu Lele. It's going to stop that Fake Out, and he's got the Tapu Koko to stop the Spores as well.
Yeah, and speaking about leading, we see Lou leading off with Smeagol and Porygon C, whereas Matthias sends out Arcanine and Tapu Lele, setting up the Psychic terrain, getting off Intimidate. Usually Porygon C doesn't care that much about Intimidate since it's usually specially based with that massive special attack stat. So this is a really interesting lead there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Lou's got to be thinking, does that Tapu Lele carry Taunt? And kind of all indications that Matthias has led with it is that it may do. So Lou can't take advantage of the Fake Out with the Smeagol, but she can take advantage of that Follow Me, and if she decides to go for a Trick Room potentially here to get that Gigalith in and then start really rolling through Matthias' team, she can do that. That's how flexible Smeagol is here.
And we are seeing the Follow Me coming from the Smeagol, drawing in all attention, and the opposing Tapu Lele going for a Psychic into the Smeagol, taking it down to its Focus Sash. Let's see what Porygon C is gonna go for. Oh, we see the roar from Arcanine coming out, roaring up the Smeagol. Oh, and the Gigalith coming in. This worked out pretty well since the roar already went up. We gonna see Porygon C going for the Trick Room, and it worked out so perfectly for Lou, getting in that Gigalith for free, still preserving the Focus Sash on Smeagol, setting up the Trick Room, and now Matthias is in serious danger, isn't he?
Yeah, it totally backfired there. Matthias going for the roar, obviously onto that Porygon Z, hoping that he could just roar out and prevent the Trick Room there, but the Smeagol loop making such a good play with that Follow Me, drawing in those attacks, and getting really fortunate with that roar, bringing the Gigalith in for free, and now Trick Room's up and she is ready to go. So Matthias is in a really tight spot here. He's going to have to adjust his board position. It'll be interesting to see if we may see the Garchomp come in, but there's things that, like the Z move that we have to worry about and what item that Gigalith is carrying.
Yeah, and we see Arcanine protecting. Gigalith is firing off a strong Rock Slide and doing a huge amount of damage to the Tapu Lele, and Porygon C is getting the knockout with the Ice Beam and taking out the first knockout in this game. Lou is up for 3. Again, a super solid round now for Lou. It totally worked out. That Rock Slide did a massive amount of damage.
Yeah, kind of indicating that we've got the choice band on that Gigalith there. Huge damage, and she's in such a dominant position right now. She's keeping that pressure on. She's got the Trick Room up. She's got more Trick Room turns to go. She's still, we don't know the item on that Porygon Z. And yeah, Matthias is not in a great place. He's brought in the Kartana though, so that is going to be able to take those rock-type attacks a lot better. But it still has to worry about the special attacks from that Porygon Z, because Porygon Z isn't any slouch at all. It's got a high special attack, and it'll be able to put a dent in that Kartana.
Yeah, especially with Porygon C usually running adaptability to power up its attacks, and we gonna see Arcanine switching out for the Garchomp, Gigalith going for a Rock Slide, doing some damage to guard jump, whereas Kartana protected, not taking any damage at all. And let's see, Porygon Z goes for Ice Beam into the Kartana. Matthias is playing, he's playing defensively, but he doesn't want to switch into Arcanine now, does he?
No, not really. You don't want to, even to get the Intimidate off onto that Gigalith, just the damage it's going to do. You don't really want to switch it in on that, but the Kartana, as we see, protected that turn, can't protect this next turn, so potentially will take an Ice Beam and a Rock Slide.
Yeah.
I think Matthias is just playing defensively here, trying to stall out that Trick Room. Once the Trick Room's gone, the ball's kind of more back in his court and he can start playing his game. But at the minute, Lou's just got so much offensive pressure, and she's still got all 4 Pokemon. She's not really taking any damage.
No, and we see Garchomp again switching out for that Arcanine to start rolling out those Intimidates, lowering Gigalith's attack stat, whereas Porygon Z doesn't care that much about that. And we're gonna see again a Rock Slide from Gigalith coming out, doing a huge amount of damage to Arcanine. Is it gonna activate a berry? Yep, it is. The most common used item on Arcanine is one of the existing berries. In this case, it's Mega Berry. Oh. And we are going to see a C move. This is the normal C move. I guess this is gonna be a Breakneck Blitz.
And it's gotta be into that Kartana, right?
This is gonna do a huge amount of damage. Look at the Porygon Z dancing into that Kartana, and I can't even watch that. I can't watch that. Taking it out in one hit.
Huge play by Lou there. Really, not burning that Z move early on, waiting for the right opportunity. And you can tell she's so well versed with this team. She's got a set strategy. She's carrying it out perfectly, and she's not giving Matthias any room to kind of function here. She's still under Trick Room. She's threatening that Garchomp with the Ice Beam on the PZ, so it's going to go straight into that, take the KO, kind of forcing to protect here, and the Arcanine is in Rock Slide range.
Yeah, the Arcanine is in Rock Slide range, but I think Trick Room is going to Aspire, isn't it, if he goes for a double protect. So he brought himself into a position where he can safely stall out the Trick Room. But if Lou wants to capitalize on that, would she switch or is she gonna stay in?
She's still got that Smeargle in the back. It's down to its sash, so she has to kind of wait for the sand to end. She can't switch it in or it will go down. But here, there's no reason for her not to just attack into both targets. So.
Oh, and we're gonna see a little bit of risky play from Matthias, and he had to play for his outs. Didn't work out. Arcanine went for a protect. Gigalith went for a Rock Slide, and Porygon Z went for an Ice Beam into the non-protecting Garchomp, taking it out in one hit. And now Matthias is down to only his Arcanine, whereas Lou still got a whole lot of Pokemon.
She's got a full squad here, and she can quite happily just set up the Trick Room again. Matthias can go for that roll, but then, it's going to take a Rock Slide and feint. But I think Matthias here might, if he can, try and get as much information as possible. There's not a lot of room here for him to do it, but if you can kind of drag this on a bit and just find out little bits of information, then that would be beneficial to him going into game 2.
Yeah, he's going for Flare Blitz into Porygon Z, but due to the critical hit, he doesn't even see how much damage the Arcanine usually does with a Flare Blitz, and we see the Rock Slide from Gigalith finishing off that Arcanine. So the newcomer takes the first match versus a really saddled player already. Matthias, as we said, one of the best players we got in Europe, going to Worlds like every year and competing there every year, whereas Lou just really started to play Pokemon because she has been to the World Championships and she was just rolling over Matthias's team.
That was incredible. That was incredible. She knew what she had a game plan, like I said, during that match. Yeah. She had a game plan and she just went with it and carried it out and didn't give Matthias any room. You saw how much he was switching defensively to try and stall out that Trick Room. But, Lou picked a moment. I think the Z move when she unleashed that Breakneck Blitz from the Porygon Z into the Kartana. And nothing there could switch in on that slot. You're kind of hoping that. I think that the only thing Matthias at that point is hoping for is if the Kartana maybe has a sash. and the rock slide misses, then you can get an attack off. But I don't know what Matthias is going to do. He's going to have to... That's Smeagol lead with the Porygon Z is causing him a lot of problems. Because of the follow me, he can't take advantage of the roll, so he can't prevent the Trick Room. So I wonder if we'll see Matthias bring his own Porygon 2 here, so he's at least got an option, possibly, to reverse the Trick Room here and turn the game back in his favor and stop Lou from just rolling through his team.
I can see that coming. Like, Matthias tried to roar out the Trick Room setup, which is usually a really safe play, but it totally backfired. He got a bit unlucky by Lou getting the Gigalith in for totally free, and Gigalith could fire off really strong rock slides. But what's really interesting is I really like the Marowak on Lou's team, since I guess players tend to bring Tapu Koko into the matchup versus Porygon 2 versus Smeagol, just to prevent those spores. And then there is a Marowak, which just sits there and is able to dish out a huge amount of damages against Tapu Koko or its partners, and even drawing in those Electrica types.
That's it as well. And the one thing I do think about, does Matthias have Skydrop on that Tapu Koko?
Well, that has become popular lately, right?
Yeah, and that would allow him and give him room to be able to stop or prevent, to some extent, the Trick Room setup. But then again, like you say, Lou has that Marowak there. She could maybe think, I'll bring it this game. Or she might have had it last game. We didn't see the fourth Pokemon. And that does deter bringing your own Tapu Koko into that situation. So we'll have to see how Matthias adjusts here.
Speaking about seeing, we see again the leads. Lou sending in against Smeagol Porygon Z. Matthias is going for the Porygon 2, like you said, next to Tapu Lele, setting up a Psychic Terrain and taking away the possibility to use Fake Out with Smeagol. Well, you saw it coming, kinda, Lee. He really wants for the Porygon 2. So is he gonna reverse the Trick Room here?
It's quite risky, and these are where the mind games kind of come in. Does he go for the Trick Room here and Lou read into that and not go for the Trick Room so the Trick Room sets up? Or does he go for it and then reverse it as well and then just get the ball back in his court turn 2? So it's really down to what call you make here to how the rest of the game can kind of pan out.
And there we see Smeagol again going for Follow Me, drawing in the Psychic from Tapu Lele. But now we're gonna see again the Bracknet Blitz from Porygon Z come in. Let's see what Lou is gonna target. Oh, I'm really excited. The Tapu Lele would go down definitely. I'm pretty unsure if Porygon 2 would go down in one hit, but let's have a look. Whoa, Tapu Lele! And this should be enough to take it out.
And has Matthias went for the Trick Room?
No, Ice Beam, taking out that Smeagol early on in the first turn. So we have seen a trade, Smeagol versus Tapu Lele, and Matthias got a different plan this time, but Lou adapted it. So there was no risk if she just wanted to see if Matthias went for Trick Room, and if not, she gets a clean knockout on that Tapu Lele. So I really appreciate that play by not trying to set up Trick Room.
Yeah, it was a smart play from Lou because, you know, there's every likelihood that the P2 is kind of deterring you from setting the Trick Room up. So she's free to just go for that attack. And if the Trick Room goes up, that's a bonus for her. I'm sure she probably has that Gigalith in the back that she would have brought in here.
Yeah.
The Smeagol going down. But now, Lou bringing in, keeping that pressure up. She's got the Pheromosa on the field. It is going to outspeed that Garchomp. And it may threaten with an Ice Beam. And it also threatens the Porygon 2 with a high jump kick as well. So
I'm starting to liking that team composition even more. So if there's no Trick Room, I send in the super fast Pheromosa. If there's Trick Room, I send in the super slow Gigalith. And we see the high jump kick into Porygon 2, taking it out in one hit. And if Garchomp cannot take out that Porygon Z in one hit, it probably will go down to an Ice Beam. But let's have a look, guys. Oh yeah, there it comes. That's Tectonic Range.
And that has to be into the Porygon Z.
I'm really curious. I'm really curious. Is this gonna be enough to take out that Porygon Z?
You've got to imagine it will be. And then Matthias has given himself a chance. He's removing the Trick Room element from the team. and he's kind of given himself at least a slight chance to go into the latter part of this game. But Lou, saying that, Lou has that Pheromosa. He's just had a Beast Boost, and we don't know if it's got Ice Beam or not. We've seen High Jump Kick, and it's going to threaten pretty much anything on Matthias' side of the field.
Oh yeah, this definitely threatens everything. That Kartana doesn't enjoy taking high jump kicks. That Garchomp doesn't enjoy taking ice beams. But Gigalith is kind of in an awkward situation here, not being able to dish out damage, and in reverse getting knocked out pretty easily. So who got the upper hand, Lee?
It's difficult here because you kind of have to target down the Garchomp really with the Pheromosa to kind of protect from the Earthquake onto your Gigalith. But then at the same time, you need to deal with that Kartana with the Pheromosa because Gigalith can't deal with either. So you kind of, I'd say Matthias has probably got the advantage here, especially if we see something like a Sash on that Kartana.
And we see the Ice Beam into a protecting Garchomp. Excellent protect there from Matthias. Targeting now the Pheromosa with his Katana. Securing a knockout on the Pheromosa. Getting a Beast Boost for Katana. And now things don't look that good for Lou. Oh, and a Void that wouldn't have helped anyhow that much because that Gigalith sits in a really uncomfortable position right now. Both Katana and Garchomp threaten it like really hard.
Yeah, and I think now we're seeing the experience from Matthias here, just showing through a little bit more, taking down the Trick Room threat and that Porygon Z, and then being able to kind of get that board position where Pheromosa is the only Pokemon that Lou has that's threatening, but she has 2 targets.
Yeah.
And Pheromosa doesn't carry really any spread moves, so she had to pick a target, and Matthias was pretty much free there to, he made the really good call of protecting the Garchomp, expecting the Ice Beam, and then just took it down with the Kartana, and then that was game. So really close game, and again, so hyper offensive as well. It's just so fast paced, but it's pretty even at the minute. Lou stole that first game, got really fortunate with that roar into the Gigalith and just took it from there. Did really well in game 1. But then we saw Matthias bring that Porygon 2 that deterred the Trick Room from the Porygon Z. And I think it did its job alone, allowing the Garchomp on Matthias' side to pick up the KO when it had the opportunity and then allow him to close out the game. So 1-1 at the minute. And now we're going to have to see. I wonder if Lou's going to be the one to adjust going into this next game.
I'm a really bit nitpicky, but have you seen Matthias using Protect in the very last turn? He didn't want to reveal any other information on his Garchomp, which may not be significant, but it may be. So I think this is what shows that he is such a really well player, playing at Worlds like several times and not showing information for free. I think that was really clever by him. So if you ever are in the situation to be able to not show information about your team, you better do, right, Lee?
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's having such a hard job already. I mean, that last game he really adjusted so well to kind of take the win and level the matchup. But his experience there, he's not giving any information away that he doesn't have to, and he knows that, and that's where the experience comes through. But the experience Lou has with this team that she's been using a lot of this season, and we've seen her use it before, that is going to benefit her. So yeah, friendly handshake, and we're going into the deciding match. So I am so looking forward to this game.
Don't be nervous, Lou. Again, I want to recap the teams for you. We got Smeargle, Gigalith, Celesteela, Porygon Z, Marowak, and Pheromosa on Lou's side. And we got a Tapu Koko, Porygon 2, Kartana, Arcanine, Garchomp, and Tapu Lele on Matthias' side. And he decides to send in Tapu Koko, Arcanine, whereas Lou sends in Pheromosa and Porygon Z. So she changed up her lead now.
Yeah, and I would say, well, you've got to be worried now that the Arcanine roll can come into effect on that Porygon Z if Matthias chooses to stop that Trick Room being set up. Pheromosa, depending on its moveset, could threaten the Koko, type of Koko on the field, but it's been intimidated. We have seen the high jump kick from it, so it might be a mixed set but it's not going to be threatening the KO onto that Arcanine. The Arcanine's safe there, going either for a roll to stop the Trick Room, or just attacking straight into that Pheromosa, expecting the Porygon Z to switch out.
Yeah, the Porygon Z still would be able to dish out huge amount of damage if Lou decides to go for a Bratner Blitz into either Arcanine or Tapu Koko. I'm pretty sure both would be a knockout, and Lou decides to switch out Pheromosa for the Gigalith. So her plan is probably setting up a Trick Room, but let's see what Matthias decided to do here. Porygon Z goes for a Protect instead. Sorry guys, I didn't see that coming. And Tapu Koko goes for a safe Dazzling Gleam. He wanted to really dish out damage to Pheromosa and chip the Porygon Z. There's a good amount of damage to the Gigalith. And Arcanine goes for a Flare Blitz into Porygon Z. So excellent switch and excellent Protect by Lou there.
Yeah, nice Protect by Lou. She's kind of preserving the option that she's got for the Trick Room. You know, I think that's her win condition. She gets the Trick Room up, gets the Gigalith in, and starts really putting a lot of pressure on Matthias and forcing him to react to her game plan. Whereas the tables have really turned here, where we see with Matthias's lead on Lou's lead, it's making Lou react and have to react in a certain situation. But you know, you've got to be careful with this Gigalith.
Yeah.
You've seen the damage that it's done. It's not intimidated. It's probably threatening the KO onto the Arcanine and potentially onto that Tapu Koko there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Matthias kind of maneuvers himself out of this. Obviously, you've got things like Volt Switch on that Tapu Koko.
Yeah.
But are we going to see a Trick Room this turn?
Let's have a look.
Z?
Matthias withdraws his Arcanine, sending in a Porygon 2. Porygon 2's ability activates and raises its special attack. This may be handy later on. And we are again seeing a switch by Lou, switching out her Gigalith into the Celesteela. Tapu Koko went for a Thunderbolt into Porygon Z, and it's not quite enough. Porygon Z is able to set up the Trick Room, but oh boy, what a good Porygon 2 switch in.
Yeah, really good. Now Matthias can just reverse the Trick Room if he carries it on the Porygon 2, and Lou's in a position now where she can target down that Tapu Koko slot, but the Celesteela isn't really putting too much pressure on, and you maybe not able to prevent that Porygon 2 from reversing the Trick Room. You can double into that slot with the Breakneck Blitz that we've seen already, and the Heavy Slam, which may be enough to pick up the one-hit KO onto the Porygon 2, but then you've still got to worry about that Tapu Koko on the other side of the field.
So I'm really curious what Matthias still got in the back. I suppose it's that guard jump just to have switch-ins on that Rock Slide, but we see Matthias's Porygon 2 taking out its bigger brother with an Ice Beam, and Celesteela will target the Tapu Koko with the Porygon 2 with a Heavy Slam there, doing some damage, and Tapu Koko taking out the Celesteela in one hit with a Thunderbolt. Whoa, what a turn by Matthias, getting two super important knockouts this turn. Not reversing the Trick Room, but going the offensive route, getting the knockouts he needed to. Oh, Lee, help me out. This is really exciting.
It is, and it's such a shame. I think that the turning point there was when Lou switched out a Gigalith into the Celesteela while setting the Trick Room up. If she'd kept the Gigalith in that turn, she would have been able to put on pressure straight away, threatening with those big rock slides or stone edges that we've seen it fire out in previous games. But it's not over just yet. You know, we are still in Trick Room. Rock Slide can flinch, so it may buy the Pheromosa room, but it is going to be the slowest thing in this Trick Room on the field at the minute, so it is threatened heavily by that Porygon 2. Yeah,
that Porygon 2 got a special attack boost by download, so we know that Pheromosa is a really frail Pokemon with high attacks, and we see a Rock Slide miss on the Porygon 2. Lou takes out Matthias's Tapu Koko with Rock Slide, but there was no chance to get a flinch on the Porygon 2, and Porygon 2 targets down the Pheromosa. Is it enough? It's not enough, and we see the high jump kick into the Porygon 2, taking it out in reverse. Whoa, it all comes down to Gigalith versus the world now.
Yeah, it's so back and forward this game. Unfortunately, Pheromosa is going to go down to the residual damage on the sand there. and it is Gigalith versus the world. Now, we know Matthias has the Arcanine,
Yeah.
but what is the last Pokemon going to be? If it's that Garchomp, then he does. But
Oh,
it's not.
Katana is as well. Really solid answer to that Gigalith, as it may be locked into that Rock Slide, as we've seen the huge amount of damage that Gigalith just puts out. So Matthias now is in like a really good situation there.
Yeah, the Kartana is going to resist those Rock Slides, and it's just going to be able to fire Leaf Blades into that Gigalith, doing huge damage. And I don't know if Lua has enough Trick Room turns left to get the flinches that she needs on that Kartana to kind of take the game, which is really unfortunate.
But even though that Katana is like really frail on the special defensive side, it's like super bulky on the physical side. So even if Gigalith lands like 2, 3 or even 4 Rock Slides, that Katana is still gonna be there, and let's see how much damage it takes. Arcanine still hanging in, and Katana not taking that much damage. Arcanine again is hungry, healing its health back with a Mega Berry, going for a Flare Blitz into Luis. Gigalith doing, well, that's not only chip damage, but also getting a burn, and are we gonna see the knockout now from Katana? Is it enough? It is enough. We see the handshake, and what a comeback by Matthias. What a comeback.
Adjusting perfectly, game 2 and then game 3 as well.